Usual button. So here we are. It's another ShrimpsNet, and it's finally arrived. A sold-out last home game with both teams needing something to chat about the myriad of computations and possible outcomes and possible disasters for at least one of the three clubs involved. We get to 3 p.m. on Saturday, and instead of looking forward to kick-off, obviously we'll be finished, so we'll all know. But joining Joel and myself, we have the boardroom fixer extraordinaire and all-round good egg, Charlie Appleyard, looking very relaxed there, Charlie.
Evening, Freez. First edition of the new Appleyard Boys Bunker.
Yes, he's in the garden. He's in his garden. Yeah, my garden shed is bigger than this. Well, it's not bigger than yours, I'll tell you that. But also, from the changing rooms, we've got two excellent guests with us tonight. We've got the lone centre half who stops all in his path, Jacob Bedeau. Jacob, welcome along.
Evening, guys. Evening.
And also, I'm delighted to say, for the third time this season, we have the Vieira of the Bay, none other than Tooms. I've got to disappear and go for a haircut, Diagouraga himself. Welcome along, Tooms.
Hi, you okay?
So start as we mean to go on, all of us. Let's have a chat. MK Dons. I'll start with Joel. MK Dons. They were every bit as good as I expected. We played, for me, I thought we defended really, really well, worked really, really hard, got caught with a bit of a freaky goal, and then we couldn't really threaten them. And I think that was down to the standard of their play, their movement. They were nearly up there with Oxford at keeping the ball and moving it. Joel, your thoughts?
Yeah, similar to that, really. I think we started off with a bit of zest, and I think it looked like we might be able to threaten them a bit. And then, like you say, I think that first goal that puts the game in a position where they want it, really. And I think it's come about in quite a strange way in that we were so organised and we were looking at like that we were going to keep them at bay. And for the rest of the afternoon, I think we still did a really good job at keeping them at bay and didn't really give them any chances. At the same time, a good way to kind of break that kind of block is a centre back stepping out, and nobody quite knows who to close them down, and creates a bit of mayhem. And obviously that's where the first goal has come from. And then from there, I think them being a goal ahead just allows them, means they can kind of almost relax and not play as, not try as hard to score. They can just kind of focus a bit more on kind of keeping possession and taking the sting out of the game, which, let's be honest, they did a really, really good job of, on their home turf. You can see why they're up there. And I think at the end of the day, I think Derek said it, we can't really complain too much about the result, because I think they just took the sting out of the game so well once they went the goal ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there's from a changing rooms point of view, there's not really much to add there, Jacob, is there? It was a decent performance, but they just had that little bit of quality, didn't they? That we not necessarily lacked, but didn't have on the day.
Yeah, I think so. They're obviously a very good footballing side. Like, you compared them to Oxford, and I think the difference between those two games was against Oxford, we were at home and our pitch is quite tight, so we can really kind of get up amongst it and keep a really compact shape. On a pitch like Milton Keynes, you can have a centre half stepping all the way out, which from a team's point of view, I think that's a kind of sloppy goal to concede, really, because kind of a centre half running all the way through and then scoring. Because as a centre half myself, I'd love to be able to do that, but it's very.
Got one game left, mate. Got one game left.
Yeah, so I think on the generally probably didn't deserve to get the points in that game, but we can take some positives from our shape that day and from the way we defended at times, especially as a defensive midfield, stepping out with number 10s into pockets and communicating with each other. I think we actually did quite a good job on that front, and it wasn't their passing and intricate play that got them the goal. It was more the guy running all the way through. So we can take some positives from the way we played, I think.
It was a great finish for a centre half, though, wasn't it?
I know. I think he slipped a little bit, so it put the spin on it almost. So it went off the post and in, because from where I was standing, it looked like it was going to go wide. I think because he's fallen, he's kind of almost just got a nice bit of bend on it and it's just come off the post and gone in.
Well, I'll go with that. It was jammy. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Toombs, obviously that was a big game to come on and get stuck in, and from that point of view, I won't say we were chasing shadows, but we kept our shape really well, and from that point of view, that's probably why we kept it to sort of like a one goal and then a late sort of like last 10 minutes there. But from an attacking point of view, we were a little bit blunt.
Yeah, I think, like Jacob said, they're probably the best team in the division at keeping the ball.
Yeah.
So once they go a goal ahead, they don't really need to force anything. They're just trying to suck you in and to just playing behind you. So it's important to keep the shape. And, we were hoping with 15, 20 minutes to go to maybe loosen up and try and go for it. But they were very good on the day. And with them keeping the ball, it was hard to lay a glove on them.
Yeah, and if we look back before Jacob arrived, obviously, we lost 4-0 in the home game. And at the time, we sort of reported on here that it kind of flattered them, although they looked a decent side, and we had 2 or 3 decent opportunities. And that just never arrived, Joel, did it?
No, yeah, I think like we've said, just the fact that they are able to keep the ball so effectively. I think pitch size is another thing that comes into it, that they can stretch you, and and if you go out and commit too much, and the gaps will appear. So it's kind of a risk game, and like Toom said, you kind of hope that you can kind of hang in there to the last 10-15 minutes and get a set piece and nick something, or maybe just be able to kind of go a bit more gung ho. But by that point, they've kind of got a second, and I think as well with that second, that wasn't us being cut open with kind of tricky passing play or anything. That was just kind of, it was kind of almost like a bit of a loose ball that kind of just they managed to pick up on. I think it might have taken a nick off Bennett or something as it was going through. But yeah, and the way that happens, and then that makes it pretty much impossible to get back into the game in those last kind of 15 minutes. With the way they keep the ball.
But that same looking at obviously we're down to, as I said in the preamble, 1 game left. It's all to play for. Surely, given the position we're in, Fleetwood and Gillingham have got to be thinking we're in the box seat, haven't they, Joel?
Yeah, we are. We're 2 points ahead of them. We've got better goal difference than Gillingham. We are in the box seat. I mean, it's a funny one because, it might transpire that we have nothing to worry about and both Gillingham and Fleetwood lose, but we just don't know. And, I'm sure Toombs and Jacob and, Derek and everybody, they'll all be going out to win the game. We can back our home form. Look how good our home form's been. We've lost 1 game under Derek. We've lost 2 games since the turn of the year. So you back that, big crowd behind us. I think we're good at playing our pitch. And yeah, I'd back us to have quite a good chance of getting a result. And it's hard to see where wins for both Gillingham and Fleetwood come from. But at the same time, you don't want to be relying on that, and I'm sure the team and everybody will be knowing that, and they'll be going all guns out for a win against Sunderland.
So looking at it, coming to you boys in the changing room, what's training been like this week, Toombs? Everybody positive? Everybody thinking, yeah, we can get something from this?
Yeah, I think everyone's positive, and we know if we do our job, then it doesn't matter what happens at Gillingham or at Fleetwood. So it's not like we have to worry about what they're doing. If we can win, then it's irrelevant to us. But so the mindset has to be to go out and win.
But obviously, Sunderland managing to snatch a draw the other night was probably a good result for us, because obviously they'd have been on the same points as a couple of other teams, whereas now they're a point ahead of them. So it could be we're in a situation, Jacob, where other results will play a part, because as inevitably as scores come in, it might be just a case of both managers hopefully saying, "No, we can play out a draw here." We've had this situation before at Morecambe when we were surviving in League Two, and we found out Barnet were losing, and we were at Coventry, and Coventry needed a point for the playoffs, and we needed a point to stay up. And 20 minutes to go, nothing happened. it fell apart. That'd be an ideal situation, but you can't rely on that, can you, Jacob?
No, I think going into any home game at our place, I back us to beat anyone. I think every game since I've been there, we've given teams a real test. And even when we've lost games or come away with a point, we could have had a point or could have had 3. So I think we've just got to focus on what we want to do. We want to send the fans home happy regardless. Anyway, it's the last game of the season against Sunderland, which is a massive club. I think as a club like Morecambe, 10 years ago, if you said you were playing a league match against Sunderland, you've probably been laughed out of the room. But we're in the same league as them now, and it's important to go and get the 3 points.
As a lot of fans will remember, we actually played Sunderland in the Carabao Cup just over 10 years ago, and when it was when Martin O'Neill was manager of Sunderland, and they were, as you say, a Premiership club, and we were in League Two. So you wouldn't have thought that all these years later we would be playing them. But sell-out crowd, Charlie, that's fantastic news, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It obviously shows how behind the players and the team the town are. I just want a couple of things on the Milton Keynes match. Teams, obviously, Aaron was a bit sidelined on Saturday, but teams, you must have been gutted when you were called up. Look at the size of that pitch. You can run around for 90 minutes instead of coming on later on. I couldn't believe how big the pitch was. I've never been to the stadium before. It's not far from Wembley, is it?
No, it is a massive pitch, but because they're a good team at keeping the ball, they can make the pitch even bigger, which is not ideal. But, it was just about going out there and trying to do a job for the team.
Yeah, it was good. The only time I've actually been in a director's box, there was actually a hotel room. It had like a trouser press and an iron.
Well, that's always handy while you're watching the game.
But yeah, no, I thought we did really well. But yeah, and the support on, not just the support tomorrow. There's 500 fans there on Saturday. Yeah,
there was over 400. That was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. But on Saturday, we know it wouldn't be Morecambe if it wasn't getting down to the wire. So we used to this, boys. We used to the drama, and it is sold out. You've probably seen there was a few Sunderland fans purchasing tickets, but they've been wheedled out and had the tickets taken off them, which is good news. And we're just all looking forward to a 3-0 win.
There's nothing like being positive, Charlie. I'm sure all of us here had snapped their hand off for that. But obviously Sunderland, I think discussing it, obviously we can go through all the computations, but the one thing that's important to realise is that MK Dons can still go up automatically, and they play Plymouth, who are also after a playoff place, and they are currently below Sunderland. So if MK Dons go to Plymouth and start battering them, then you could literally say to Plymouth, Port.
This is the reason why I want to stay in League One, right? I know it's quite nerve-wracking, but it's so exciting, isn't it? All these big clubs are playing, all these exciting matches, the away venues, the playing smaller teams, bigger teams. I think someone said the other day, 1 minute you can be playing at Stadium of Light, and the next day you're at Acton Stanley. It's really, really great variety, and hopefully we can stay there and keep going for a number of years and before we get in the Championship. I think teams are going to get his haircut now.
I hate to be rude, but it's my time.
No, it's all right. Toombs, take your hat off so that we can see what your haircut's like on Saturday. Let's say, right, okay, are you going for a number 1 or a number 2?
Number 1.
No, number 1. Right, okay. I expect you to be 5 miles an hour faster, Toombs.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Toombs. Good luck, mate.
Cheers, Toombs.
Thank you. Bye.
Toombs, we might get live haircut here. You never know. Toombs can't switch it off. Oh no, he's got. Damn. You can't live up to that, Jacob, can you? No, unless you're going to start grooming your dog or something while we're live.
Well, he's walking around, so I can start if you want.
I wondered. I kept thinking he's looking at something, so I guessed it was a dog or a cat. Yeah. So there you go.
He kept coming for a stroke, but my missus has taken him to the other room now. So.
Oh, we'd have liked to have met him. We've met Charlie's kids. We've met James's kids. We've met other people's dogs, but no.
I can go and get him if you want.
Get your missus to bring him back in and give us a wave. It's a good look, Jack.
I'll get him at the end. Yeah, we'll have a little wave at the end.
So looking at obviously yourself, Jacob, you've been with us, and obviously well, that was some debut at Tottenham, wasn't it? That blooming heck.
Yeah, obviously that was unreal playing there. I mean, I remember it like every moment of the game almost. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I think I came on here after with Trev. I think
You did, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was obviously a really good.
Doubly memorable.
yeah, yeah, it was obviously a really good experience, and I think the team did well on that day, and I think we've had some tough periods since then in the league, but I think overall, I think we can be quite proud of the position we've got ourselves in with one game to go. Because if you think before Burton, I think it was, were we 2 points adrift of Gillingham, and now going into the last game, we're 2 points ahead. So we've got ourselves in a position where if we go and finish the job, we can have a really good, obviously the atmosphere at the end of the game, if we can do the job on Saturday, will be unreal. So I know all the players want to get it done.
So obviously yourself, you came to us in the January window. As you said, we've had some ups and downs. There were people who were thinking perhaps after the Shrewsbury and the Wigan defeats that we were gone. That's not proved the truth in the fact that Derek's come in and I won't say worked his magic, but every single player we spoke to has said he's simplified things going forward and ensured that everybody works hard defensively. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think he's found a really good balance to the side. I think with the players that came in kind of to play these recent games, I think every player in our squad is good, but I think the team he's put out has been really balanced, which has helped us to get results and kind of get those points that we needed. Yeah.
And from your point of view, obviously Derek was familiar with the club. Derek came back. Were you sort of like were the regulars from last season, like Cole and Aaron and et cetera, saying, "Oh yeah, it'll be different," or would they say, "No, you'll be all right," or "Watch out," or whatever?
To be fair, as soon as Robbo went up to St Mirren, I think it was kind of like it was always going to be the gaffer coming back in because of the history he's got with the club, the fact that he wasn't in a job at the time. So yeah, I think obviously Toombs and the guys from last year are doing really well. So he came in and he kind of he did simplify things like you said. And yeah, it's just been good since then, yeah. And
obviously you've Anthony O'Connor got a COVID, got an injury, and you've had Reece alongside you since in about the past half dozen games, and you've forged a really good partnership.
Yeah, to be fair, we're in a car school, so if we didn't have a good partnership, then it wouldn't be a good car journey. But yeah, he's been really good since he came in. I think he offers a bigger aerial presence defensively because he's so tall. But at the same time, I feel for Ant because similar happened to me at Scunthorpe last year where I was playing. We went through a bad patch, won a game, and then I was out the team and we went on a run. And he's been really good around the place though. So
yeah, and he's been excellent this season as Anthony, to be fair. And he, like you say, just the personnel happened to gel at the right time. And as you said, Reece is a bit of a monster, isn't he? And I think out of the two of you, I think he's absolutely brilliant in the air. And obviously, you're probably a little bit more cultured on the ground. I hope he wouldn't mind me saying that.
I think it's a bit like if you've ever listened to that Peter Crouch podcast. He talks about the centre after being like maybe like a gazelle, I think it is, and something tall like a lion or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. And maybe Benno's the lion and I'm the gazelle. So, yeah, but it works well.
Well, the good thing is you can play this podcast in the car and tell him you said that.
I've heard a dog and cat comparison before, but I think lion and gazelle is a bit more elegant it's a bit more flattering as a comparison.
Yeah, dog and cat, yeah.
Yeah, it probably is. So, but just a quick question from me. Obviously, your parent club surprisingly got rid of the manager. But obviously, from that point of view, somebody that we're quite familiar with has got the job on a temporary basis, Michael Jackson. And last season, Michael did a lot of commentary work alongside us on a lot of Morecambe games. Really, really nice chap, knew his stuff. And he's made a relative good success of it there. And obviously, you're quite familiar with him, I would imagine.
Yeah, obviously he was taking the 23s and stuff at Burnley. So for the first half of the season, I was obviously in contact with him every day. He's a really good coach, and he's obviously started really well with the first team. So long may it continue.
But yeah, from your point of view, obviously as your parent club, does that, did you have any dealings with Sean and think, well, he likes the look of me, or was it somebody higher up? And are you thinking, well, I go back to Burnley, I don't know what's going to happen? Or are you thinking, well, could be a good thing?
Sorry, my dog's just eating something off the floor, and I think it's a pop chip, so it's really crunchy. Well, sorry, what was the question? He's completely thrown me off there.
Yeah, with Sean being given the push, are you thinking when you go back to your parent club at Burnley that like things may have changed, or are you quite happy that things have changed and you know what, Michael looks at you positively, or do you just think, well, that's football?
Yeah, I think it's just football at the end of the day, isn't it? Managers chop and change. We saw it at Morecambe when Robbo went and Derek comes in. Like, that's just part and parcel of it. So I go back there next week and just take it from there. I don't really think too much into it, because if you overthink some things in football, then you'll do your head in thinking about it. So just take it as it comes.
Joel, anything interesting to ask Jacob?
I guess with the manager change, like you said, I think Robbo was obviously somebody who was a bit of a fan of yours. I think he tried to sign you over summer, and there's obviously kind of eventually managed to get you in January. So when there's a new manager coming in the situation that we had, is there any kind of worry about your team place, or do you just kind of get your head down and train well and try and impress him there?
Obviously you want to impress him as soon as he comes in, but I think when a manager changes, I think every player has that kind of worry in their mind, like, oh, what's this? How's this going to affect my place or whatever? So there was a little bit of worry, but played every game, so
Backs himself.
Yeah, it's worked out right. Yeah.
The smile says it all.
But so with those kind of different managers, is it as a young player still, obviously, is it quite nice to be able to almost kind of learn from two different managers who, from what I can gather, have relatively contrasting styles?
Yeah, I think it just adds to that experience that you want to get out from when you're on loan. You want to experience lots of different things, and that's just one of them. So the two different management styles, yeah, but I think at every level of football, no matter how high you go up, I think you'll always have those kind of two contrasting styles. So if you have a Pep Guardiola, you might have someone like Carlo Ancelotti, who's probably a little bit more like the gaffer now. So
I wonder if Derek will like the comparison Carlo Ancelotti. So talking of Derek coming in, I know obviously we've spoken quite broadly about the team in general, simplifying things. Are there any kind of specific things that he's asked you yourself to do differently as a centre-back?
He wants me to play forward more, whereas Robbo would maybe want to pass around the back a little bit more and retain the ball and use Trev to go out the other side or something like that. Whereas I think now we're kind of getting the ball up to Cole earlier and then playing off him with Philo or Az running in behind, or Arthur and Dylan in behind as well. So it's almost like the back four and Oz in front of us. Your job is to defend, and the front five, your job is to go and win us the game. And obviously, Az and Philo kind of doing half and half with and without the ball.
Yeah. So obviously we've come through that international break where I think we just spoke about before, after Shrewsbury and Wigan, it was all a bit gloomy, really. So did you kind of spot anything different that happened over that international break? Or was it maybe just a case of the fact that you psychologically needed a bit of a break?
Yeah, I think the international break couldn't have come at a better time, to be honest, because we had a tough week, those 3 games, because I think Cheltenham at home was such a winnable game, and the goals and the manner they went in and the times they went in was obviously disappointing. Then we went to Shrewsbury and I think we conceded very similar to Cheltenham right before half time. And then Wigan, similar happened again, I think. So I think after that, I think a break, everyone needed a bit of a break from games. We had an in-house game. We worked on a lot of stuff and we came out the other side a lot better mentally, probably a little bit more rested mentally, and it enabled us to go again.
So going into that Burton game then, I think it almost felt like it wasn't the last chance of the season, but it was quite a winnable game compared to some of the others they had that we've had come up, obviously on MK Dons and Charlton away, even though we did win that one. So did that kind of feel like an opportunity to you as a team, like, right, we can get 3 points here and then, from there build up the momentum?
Yeah, I think everyone knew that we had to get some results on the board at some point, and the home games were going to be massive because we had to go to MK Dons and Charlton and Cambridge, who have done really well this season. So that Burton game at home was obviously really important, and I think the way we went about it from the first whistle to the last couldn't have been better, to be honest. We could have had more goals, but a 3-0 win at home to kind of build your confidence back up is probably about the best way to do it.
Even the 2 losses since then against MK Dons and Cambridge, which we played really quite well. Cambridge, we could have arguably won the game.
Yeah, I think Cambridge was disappointing because obviously Cole goes and scores that outrageous volley, and then I think the referee makes a decision that is a bit. For me, it probably wasn't a penalty because players are allowed to come together in the box, and you see it in the Prem now. Sometimes if you cross legs or slightly brush someone, it doesn't mean it's a penalty. But the referee made a very quick decision there, and we lost the game. But we did deserve probably to get a point. And especially first half, we had so many good opportunities to get a goal. And I think it's important when we're on top in games to make it count, which I think we've done in the games we've won. We've always scored when we've been on top in the games.
Yeah, I guess going from Charlton, we got 2 goals when we were very much on top. There was that spell against Oxford where we went the goal down, and then we kind of have about 15 minutes just after that where we're able to get 2 goals. And again, it's very important. I think going back to that Burton game as well, though, like talking about building momentum, I think we kind of saw that in a different way in the Oxford game. It's almost like the momentum from the Burton game kind of almost gives you that. Do you feel like that gives you that extra drive to dig in against Oxford? Because Oxford was a lot of digging in.
Yeah, it's a strange one because Burton, when we were 3-0 up, with 10 minutes to go, I still felt like almost had that worry in my brain, like we can't let them get back in, but we're 3-0 up and they had 10 men. Whereas against Oxford, because we'd won that game, against Oxford, we were 2-1 against a really good side. But in my head, I was like, we're going to win this game because the belief that we got from that Burton game. So, yeah, I think obviously the Burton game was massive. Yeah.
So those 2 wins, you go to Charlton away at the Valley and you're sort of 3-2 up with 10 minutes left, and you must be thinking exactly the same thing, like, we can hang on to this. We've done it before now.
Yeah, exactly that. I think even when they scored that second one, I didn't feel. I still felt better than when we were 3-0 up against Burton, if you know what I mean. So it's weird how football and psychology works, but I think if you went back to it, that Burton game was the driving force behind the other wins.
Yeah, and especially, you look at the players that Charlton had on the pitch at that time, Stockley, Yannick, Connor Washington, etc. But to be in such a good place mentally where they get that goal back, and a lot of teams will wobble, but then to kind of be able to see it out. And I guess going on from that, we've had the motivation against Portsmouth, even though we really did deserve to win that game, to keep going until the end and get that equaliser. Yeah,
I think against Portsmouth was one of those games. It was a bit like Gillingham at home earlier in the year where we battered a team and suddenly they score almost like off his shin it was, onto the post and goes in the other side. And then you're thinking as the game goes on, is it going to be our day? Their keeper pulls off some worldies. But then obviously Jonah comes on and gets that goal. And really it's a very valuable point. But if we'd have got 2 that day, then we'd be going into this final game a lot more stress-free than we are now. But that's football.
I just want to pick up on something there, because there's a recurring theme here. And the recurring theme, we talked about MK Dons, centre half. Sean Raggett, Portsmouth, might have come off his shin, might have hit the post, but it went in. So, no pressure for Saturday, Jacob.
I'd love a goal, to be fair, especially on the weekend. It'd be very sweet. So if when we get a corner or anything, I'll be trying my hardest to get on the end of it. So I'll take that Portsmouth, Jonah's goal against Portsmouth, though. I'm going to take some credit for roughing up anyone around the ball. Luckily, the referee didn't give a foul, which I don't think it was anyway. But
well, I tell you what, you're in strange company there, because we've had people on who swear it was a foul and would be annoyed if it was given against us. I didn't think it was a foul. I just think Cole jumped and he stuck his backside into him as he jumped. But
I think it's very similar to if you look at Accrington away when we played them and we were 2-0 up. There's no difference between what we did in the box there and what they did to us.
Yeah, Sullivan. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sully basically did a kind of American football style block on Carson.
He did.
Yeah,
we did.
So I mean, that was probably more of a foul than whatever happened against Portsmouth. So
I think Portsmouth was probably more of a foul than the one we got disallowed against Rotherham when Bennett stuck it in at the back post.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's funny how these things work. Although, to be fair with the Accrington one there, we can't really complain too much about John O'Sullivan managing to get.
Your podcast edition where we've been robbed this season on the 25 different occasions.
Yeah. I'm trying not
goals, fouls.
I know, I'm trying not to say it because we say it every bloody podcast. I don't want to say it.
I mean, too bad we managed not to mention the Bolton one, so we'll probably leave it there.
No, or the Doncaster penalty. Damn, mention it. But I mean, from that point of view, we're looking at the permutations. Like I said, Fleetwood away at Bolton. That's a tricky game. Bolton will want to finish as high as they possibly can. They'll have a decent crowd on. Fleetwood haven't won since Doomsday. So you're thinking, well, if they can get a draw there, it doesn't matter. So because it doesn't. But I mean, if they win, they win. But obviously, the interesting one is Gillingham-Rotherham, because I'll just run you through the scenario the other night, and the fact that myself and a group of friends have a WhatsApp group, and with 20 minutes to go on Tuesday night, every single result was going against us. Sheffield Wednesday were losing, Wigan were winning, and obviously Sunderland were losing. So I was like, well, if Rotherham win, they'll go above Wigan, so they'll have nothing to play for Saturday. So we could do with Sunderland scoring. And then Sheffield Wednesday scored 2 in a minute, and then Wigan conceded 3. And all of a sudden, they've all got something to play for on Saturday. And that's how we want it, isn't it, John?
Yeah, definitely. I thought about getting an iFollow pass for the Fleetwood game, but I just thought I had a busy day at work the next day. I thought my nerves can't take it. I don't want to put myself through that much stress. So
Here's one because Gibbo's brother plays for Sheffield Wednesday. He was actually there.
Was he?
Yeah. So we had some live updates from him, and obviously they scored Sheffield Wednesday scored the second and third in very quick succession.
Well, if you've seen the goals,
it's
Fleetwood
very funny.
Fleetwood pass it back to the guy in midfield who falls over it, and Lee Gregory takes it off him and runs 30 yards and smashes it. And I'm like, oh my God. I was absolutely ecstatic because the one thing I wanted was Sheffield Wednesday to get those 3 points, and that puts them so that they're above everybody, and they're chasing Rotherham, which is great, and they're chasing.
As Derek Adams says, what's the only important stat at the end of the game? The score.
True.
At the end of the game, and we've been always good at that with Derek.
And Sunderland getting that point through the most bizarre of diving headers from Michael Ahikwe.
Robin Van Persie style.
Yeah, it was. It was a brilliant diving header, but I'm like, bloody hell, why has he done that? But I'm glad he did, because obviously it kind of takes the pressure off slightly. If we know that Plymouth are only getting a point, then Sunderland, a point will do them. And like I said before, Jacob, we've had it before where us scores filter through, and yes, things can change, but it could be that, you know, we have it could be one apiece at the time, and we decide, right, we'll just play keep ball, because we've seen it, Joel.
We have. I mean, it was different because we kind of went into the game at the start of the game knowing that a point would be fine because of the goal difference. And I think even though Barnet won 3-0, it didn't matter on the day. But yeah, with this one, you know, I don't really want to think about it too much, but yeah. But I think, you know, I back our home record. You know, I think we've been really good at home, various reasons. I think, you know, yeah, we'll be out for a win, definitely. I mean, the way Jacob...
3-0, Bedeau, Gibson, Carson.
Yeah.
Carson?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have him on I reckon he'd be good on penalties, actually. He's got a good like passing him, so I don't know. Probably decent pens.
Well, I take the point, and I think I agree with Jacob completely that a lot of the home performances have deserved wins when we've got draws, and we've deserved a draw when we've had losses. So if we turn up on Saturday, Jacob, a point may well be enough. But obviously it would be nice to beat Sunderland to get them back for that. We got drubbed 5-0 before Christmas, and we didn't return up that game, unfortunately. So yeah, revenge would be sweet, but it's just we need to do whatever we need to do. You can't wait for anybody else, can you?
No, we don't want to be relying on other results, even though we're in the driving position at the moment. You don't want to be come the end of the game going, oh, what's the other scores? What's the other scores? You want to, I think, is it a point we need if the other two win?
Yeah.
But obviously we want to get all three and finish the season on a high. So everyone will be going all out to go and get those 3 points.
And from a personal point of view, obviously, I know that you've said before you've loved your time with us here at Morecambe, and obviously who knows what's going to happen in the future when you go back to Burnley. But it'd be a great thing to have on your CV that I was at Morecambe in League One and helped keep them in that division. Yeah.
Obviously, I've loved my time here. It's a proper people's club, you know, down to the people that work at the stadium, kind of the togetherness of everyone is really special for a club in League One, because you can see, if you look at Charlton away, where the fans are booing them off at half time and stuff like that, whereas the fans here are so supportive, and the club as a whole is just moving in a really good direction. Yeah,
that's good to hear. You can use that in your programme notes, Charlie.
Usually the contract I can write up.
Yeah, you're keen on getting that one in, aren't you, Charlie? That's good.
Well, it's not up to me, obviously. It's all to Derek, but I think Jacob did. You know, all the guys who came in at Christmas have been fantastic, and you know, can't thank you enough, mate. Been really, 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 really amazing.
It's been a pleasure.
and long may it continue on Saturday.
Yeah.
I really do. You know, from a personal point of view, it's been a fantastic roller coaster season. It's never ever been dull. But you know, just the facts come out now that if we get a point Saturday and we survive on 43 points, that will be the lowest survival points since 2000.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of more shows the state of the division, really, and some of the gaps financially. When you look at the fact that 80 points is probably going to be the absolute minimum to get the playoffs. That's crazy. That would have got you automatics in many previous years. So it just shows the kind of financial divisions, and kind of is almost even more of a testament to how well we've done this season to kind of overcome those.
And I think when you look back on it, Charlie, both on and off the field, the club have made great strides, and you as a board and as management have done a fantastic job.
We have. No.
Well, I'm just being honest.
And thinking back to the end of season party last year, when we were serving at Wembley, and the next day Derek resigns, and then I'm on my family holiday, and my wife wants to divorce me because we're trying to, sort that out. And then obviously Robbo came in, and we're doing really well, and then we started to do badly, and then he left, and then Derek comes back, and then we had a really tough run of fixtures, and we've come through that, and everyone's really been, Les obviously was taken ill. So many things have happened this season. How long ago does it feel like Ipswich away? It feels like about 3 seasons ago, let alone 1. We've come through everything so strongly, and then we're coming out. Even if I'm sure we're going to be all right on Saturday as well. We deserve it, and it's a testament to everyone, from fans, players, staff, academy, the ladies football, the community, everyone involved in the club has tried their absolute hardest to keep the momentum going, the atmosphere going, the fans. James and I, as you know, Freez, make sure we go and see the away fans every game we go to.
Yeah, you do.
There's so many of those guys have been at every single game. Mickey Miller and Hopi and all those guys, absolutely fantastic. And I don't think there's a better bunch of fans in the whole of the EFL, that's for sure.
And it's testament to the club as a whole, as Jacob said, that we've had some. I would say only a couple of performances at home where there was a little bit of disgruntlement, but 99% of the time, everybody in the grounds applauded the players off, because we can see that they've given their all. That's right, Joel, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing, and I think we are, as a crowd, generally quite understand. I think we do look for the fact that the players are giving effort. I think Robbo might have touched on it earlier in the season. Sometimes when it comes across that a player might not be trying, it's not usually the case that they're not trying. It's just sometimes you get in a bad headspace, and
even we lost 4-0 to MK Dons, I thought we played quite well.
I thought we did all right. Yeah, they keep made a couple of good days.
We lost 4-0.
Yeah, and it flattered him. And if you go back and listen to the podcast, that's exactly what we said. He said, 2-1 would have been about right, but it didn't happen.
Sorry, big shout out as well to the media team as well. Matt and Ryan and Jack, the photographer, all the guys, and Quinny obviously doing.
Oh yeah, brilliant! Absolutely, literally,
fantastic,
and faultless. The new ticket lady, the fan liaison people, the people in the shop. The shop looks fantastic, but obviously there are, and quite rightly, there's the people will complain. We still haven't got a roof over the home end, which is understandable. They'll complain about that, and I get that. But obviously, hopefully that'll be put right over the summer. Is that right?
There's lots of things going on. If I can I've got a list here. Sorry. So first of all, Bruce Grobbelaar, even with Bruce Grobbelaar, 19th of May, £40 a ticket or £3.50 for a table of 10. There's playing on the pitch on the 9th of May, £32. Matt Smith's hosting a media frenzy for that as well, which should be quite cool. 20 places left for people to play a match on the pitch at the Mazuma. New commercial brochure coming out. Martin wrote this. He's had a record year of commercial takings and sponsorship, which has been fantastic. And the shop online, you can buy several things such as water bottles, cushions, pint glasses, top shirts, coasters. Cushions back there. It's all going on, as you've seen on my Twitter. But the shop's massively improved. A big partnership with the Terrace has been great. And the shop online's launched, which I'm sure is a massive improvement. Hope you've seen that. And then we've sold 192 standing season tickets and 170 seated. I presume lots of people are waiting for A, payday, and B, Saturday's result. But I would say, no matter what division we're in, even though we're going to be in League One next season with Jacob playing for us, it's still going to be an amazing season if we went down to League Two. We'll still be one of the top teams. Amazing togetherness won't go away. Teams, a lot of people are still under contract. It's still going to be just as good. And please buy season tickets regardless, because Morecambe Football Club is going places.
And so, are we going to have a roof on the home end?
The roof's getting done, but I think if you want the up-to-date report, it's in Ben's previous communication.
I did read that, and that's just a bit. What about
the only thing? There's the only thing we haven't got done. We will get it done.
And what about the making the walkway bigger outside the away end? Is that happening as well?
It's all going on. Ben Sadler, please refer to Ben Sadler. I'm the affable disabled guy.
All right, yeah.
Not the construction manager.
Yeah, you're the affable, but you want to be Jacob Bedeau's agent by the sound of it.
No comment.
Yeah, exactly. What about the trust? What's happening with the trust, Joel, over the summer? We need everybody to re-enroll, don't we?
Yeah, renew, re-enroll, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, probably renew.
Re-enroll. They're going to university or something. No, just renew. I think we're really happy with how things have gone this year. We've managed to, fill the coaches up to the games we've gone to. Had some, which have been really positive. Had some good projects going on in the community. I think I've just had it confirmed that we might be able to have a flag for going around, the big flag going around for the final game, which would be nice.
Yeah, is that the big one that was put in the stand last year?
I think it may well have been. It's
huge.
on Facebook. It's on Facebook.
It's huge, is that?
Yeah, it's a big one. I don't know.
That'll do well. That'll obstruct about 1,000 people.
I think the intention is that wheel it out before kickoff and then put it away.
Oh, I see.
Right. We're not just going to cover everybody while the game's on.
Yeah. I think about Saturday Freeze as well, by the way, my friend. The awards is sold out, as you know, but we're currently stress testing tomorrow whether we can stream it live into the JB's bar. It's not confirmed yet, but hopefully we'll be able to do that. If not, the bar's open all the way through the day afterwards as well. There's lots of cool projects going on, which I'm sorry to be pervasive about those two things you just mentioned before about the home end and the away path going to be done. But obviously, we've got a lot of different other projects available, depending whether we are in League One or League Two, with our budget and what things will happen. So hopefully people can understand there'll be big announcements over the summer, lots of things happening, but we need to just make sure we get Saturday over with first to crack on as a sustainable League One club.
That's good to know, because obviously I haven't actually discussed this, so I'll go live on air with it. That I'd like to do one more before we have the summer break next Thursday to recap on the season. So that'd be a good time to sort of like get some out there. That's all right. So there you go. So Jacob, the last thing that I'm going to ask you is, where's your dog?
Chief, come here.
What's he called?
Chief.
Oh,
Derek.
Oh, look at that lad.
Oh.
How old's he?
It's about 2, just under 2 now.
Oh, bless him. Oh, he's not camera shy, is he?
Jacob, have you got a Morecambe dog bandana?
What's that?
Have you got a Morecambe dog bandana?
I haven't, no.
I'll get you one delivered to the change room on Saturday, mate.
All right.
So there you go. It's all to play for Saturday. Thanks for that, Jacob. Thank you for coming on. I hope it goes well Saturday, and I hope you have a fantastic summer holiday. You've earned it, and I hope the future is very bright for you, because I'm sure it will be.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Please pass on all our well wishes and positive thoughts for Saturday, mate.
Will do.
This has been podcast number 8,000,004. I've no idea how many we've done now. We've done loads. There's been some highs. There's been some lows. It's all in our own hands. Hopefully, we'll record one late next week, and you'll be laughing at it all over the summer because we'll be celebrating being in League One. So this has been ShrimpsNet from Jacob, from Charlie, from Joel, and from myself. Have a great bank holiday weekend and enjoy 3 points. See you then.
Go the Shrimps.